Walking into the standard grocery store meat aisle these days feels a lot like playing a game of roulette.
Oh, totally.
Like, the grand prize is just an okay dinner, right? You stand there under those awful fluorescent lights, staring at rows of shrink-wrapped styrofoam, and you're just trying to guess which cut won't end up tough or, completely flavorless.
Yeah, you're rolling the dice.
Exactly. You're rolling the dice on your dinner. And honestly, the house usually wins because the traditional supermarket model is just optimized entirely for shelf life, not for your plate.
Right. Well, the whole system is just built backward. I mean, the structural incentives of a traditional grocery supply chain, they demand that protein be homogenized.
What do you mean by homogenized in this context?
Well, think about a single package of ground beef in a supermarket. That one package can contain meat from up to 100 different cattle.
Wait, 100? In one package?
Yeah, literally processed thousands of miles apart and just mixed together. But we are looking at a fundamental shift away from that system right now in 2026.
Thank goodness.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, the global meat market is massive. It's projected to hit $1.23 trillion in 2025.
That is a staggering number.
It is, but the real story, the thing we're really focusing on, is the micro sector of online meat subscriptions.
Right.
That specific market is just exploding. It's projected to jump from almost $2 billion in 2025 to over $5 billion by 2032.
Over $5 billion.
Yeah, we're seeing a massive 14.3% annual growth rate, which, for a physical agricultural product is practically unheard of.
It's crazy. And that's exactly why we've pulled together this massive stack of 2026 agricultural supply chain reports, consumer trend data, and logistical teardowns for today's deep dive.
There is a lot to unpack.
There really is. The mission here for us today is to decode this booming industry for you. We want to give you the blueprint to just bypass the traditional supermarket entirely. We're going to map out how you can get restaurant-quality protein delivered directly to your doorstep, understand the insane logistics making it possible, and, most importantly, make sure you do it without falling into those sneaky subscription traps or overpaying.
Right, because nobody wants to overpay. And the abandonment of the supermarket, it really starts with this huge consumer demand for total transparency.
Yeah, people want to know what they're eating.
Exactly. The companies that are capturing this $5 billion market, they're offering a window into the agricultural process that a local grocery store simply cannot provide.
Right.
Take ButcherBox, for example. They're consistently highlighted across all the industry reports as the top-rated overall service.
Yeah, they come up a lot.
And they built that position by enforcing a really rigid set of standards at the top of their funnel. I mean, they mandate 100% grass-fed beef, organic free-range chicken, and a strict zero-tolerance policy for added hormones or antibiotics.
Which sounds amazing, but I'm looking at their pricing tiers here, and you are spending anywhere from $179 to $319 per box.
It's not cheap.
No, depending on the size and whether you want a curated box or a custom selection, that is a steep entry point.
Yeah, it is investment.
It really forces the question, right? Are we just paying a massive premium for a fancy cardboard box filled with dry ice? Or is there an actual, tangible biological difference in the meat you're putting on the grill?
No, that's a fair question, but there is a real difference. The physical makeup of the meat is fundamentally altered. It comes down to the biology of flavor rendering.
Okay, unpack that for me.
So when cattle are genuinely 100% grass-fed and forage on a natural pasture, rather than being, fattened on a high-corn diet in an industrial feedlot, their actual lipid profile changes.
The lipid profile, so the fat.
Exactly. The fat in a grass-fed animal contains significantly higher concentrations of omega-3 fatty acids. And here's the cool part. Omega-3s have a lower melting point than the fats produced by a grain-heavy diet.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah. So when you put that steak in a hot pan, the fat renders faster and at a lower temperature. It creates this completely different, earthier flavor profile and a much smoother mouthfeel.
Oh, wow.
So you aren't just buying a label, You are paying for an agricultural outcome that literally changes the chemistry of your dinner.
Okay, that makes sense. So the sourcing isn't just marketing fluff, it's the actual mechanism driving the culinary experience.
Precisely.
And that tracks with what Crowd Cow is doing, too. I mean, their entire business model is built around this intense farm-to-table transparency.
Oh, Crowd Cow takes it to another level.
Yeah, to the point where they let you essentially stalk your steak's background, which is kind of wild.
It is. I mean, they treat protein the way a sommelier treats a fine wine. They have digitized the supply chain so completely that a consumer can trace their purchase back to a specific farm.
Right. You can see the actual farm.
You can understand the terrain, the climate, and the exact breed of the animal.
And the sources highlight them as this premier destination for A5 certified Kobe beef.
Yes, the really high-end stuff.
Right. It used to be that you only encountered authentic A5 Wagyu if you were sitting down at a, high-end multi-course steakhouse and dropping hundreds of dollars a plate.
Easily.
But the idea that a consumer can now just hop online, pinpoint a specific farm in Japan, and have that precise genetic lineage shipped to their front porch in the Midwest, it completely upends the traditional exclusivity of premium dining.
It really does. And once the supply chain evolved to handle the global transport of A5 Wagyu direct-to-consumer, the market just immediately fractured into hyper-specialization.
Hyper-specialization. So just doing one thing really well.
Exactly. If the logistics network can support tracing a single cow from Japan, it can support farms that just abandon the broad everything-for-everyone model. They focus exclusively on mastering a single biological output.
And PastureBird is a perfect case study for that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like they refuse to sell beef or pork. They only sell chicken.
Just chicken.
And they operate this specific farm in Georgia with an open door policy, which I love. You can physically go there and verify their practices.
Yeah, you can literally just walk in and see it.
And the birds are raised outdoors, roaming freely, foraging for natural foods like insects and seeds.
And that foraging changes everything. The muscle development of a foraging bird is completely different from an industrially raised bird.
So?
Well, a chicken that spends its life walking, scratching, and hunting for insects develops much denser, leaner muscle tissue.
Okay.
The continuous movement actually increases the flow of myoglobin to the muscles. That darkens the meat and dramatically intensifies the flavor.
So it's not just about them being happy outside.
Not at all. The regenerative farming methods aren't just for ecological benefit. They are directly responsible for the nutrient density and the structural integrity of the protein you end up cooking.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
And Campo Grande applies that exact same hyper-focused philosophy, but to Spanish Iberico pork.
Yes, Campo Grande is amazing.
And we are not talking about the standard pork chop you throw in a slow cooker on a Tuesday.
Definitely not.
They are producing incredibly specialized, region-specific items like pork pastrami and authentic Jamin.
Right, because Iberico pigs are famous for their diet, which consists really heavily of acorns.
Acorns.
Yeah, and the oleic acid from those acorns actually permeates the muscle tissue. It creates a fat that is literally liquid at room temperature.
Wait, liquid?
Yeah, it just melts on your tongue. It gives the meat this incredibly rich, nutty flavor that you just cannot replicate with any other breed or feeding method. Campo Grande is catering to a highly refined culinary niche,
Capturing a demographic that wants that specific imported experience.
Exactly.
And they use these fascinating economic levers to push volume.
Oh, their bulk deals are insane.
Right. If you spend $500 with Campo Grande, they just throw in free ribs.
Just free ribs.
And if you're willing to drop $1,000 to fill a massive chest freezer, they will send you an entire bonus pork shoulder. They're really incentivizing bulk logistics. But, that brings us to Porter Road, which operates on the exact opposite logistical model.
Right, Porter Road is doing something totally different.
They are based in Kentucky. They act like your actual local butcher, and they ship fresh, dry-aged beef.
Fresh, not frozen.
Yeah, fresh. The thermodynamics of shipping raw, fresh meat across the country in the mail on a Tuesday afternoon without it spoiling, that seems like a massive liability. How does that actual mechanism work?
It's honestly a marvel. It requires a highly engineered microclimate inside the shipping box.
A microclimate?
Yeah. Porter Road can't just rely on the brutal deep freeze of dry ice because they aren't freezing the meat. Instead, they use advanced phase change materials.
Okay, what is a phase change material?
There are these specialized gel packs designed to absorb thermal energy without actually increasing their own temperature, at least until they are completely melted.
Oh, wow. That's high tech.
Right. And they combine this with custom molded, high-density expanded polystyrene insulation. Plus, there's a strict vacuum seal on the meat itself, which removes all the oxygen.
So no oxygen means no bacteria.
Exactly. It prevents oxidative degradation and bacterial growth while it's in transit.
The packaging itself is basically a feat of engineering, which honestly explains their pricing structure.
Yeah, you're paying for that shipping tech.
Because their shipping costs fluctuate heavily based on your distance from their Kentucky facility. Like a $125 order might ship for free if you're close by.
But if you're far away...
Right. If you're across the country, you might see a $55 flat rate just to cover the expedited transit network required to keep that phase change microclimate stable.
Exactly. The customer base for Porter Road is the home cook who prioritizes immediate, ready-to-cook texture.
Right. They want to cook it tonight.
Exactly. They want the complex flavor development of dry aging, and they value that over the convenience of long-term freezer storage. They even categorize their cuts based on cooking duration.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, if a customer's planning to run a smoker all day, they're directed to a heavily marbled chuck roast. But someone with only 30 minutes for dinner is pointed toward a hand-cut bavette.
That's so smart. The software basically acts as the butcher's counter, actively curating the experience based on your time constraints.
Exactly.
So we've covered the boutique, highly specialized models, right? The imported Iberico pork and the fresh, dry-aged Kentucky beef. But let's be real. If you try to feed a family of 4 every single night using imported Spanish pork, you will bankrupt yourself by Thursday.
Oh, 100%. It's not sustainable for every day.
Right. It's like Campo Grande is the boutique sports car for the weekend, but we need to look at the volume providers. We need the reliable, high-quality family SUVs that get the job done all week.
I love that analogy. And you're right, the market bifurcates here. On one side, you have the niche specialists, and on the other, you have platforms built entirely around the economics of scale.
The household provisioning.
Exactly. Good Chop is a prime example of this.
Yeah, let's talk about Good Chop.
They source strictly from within the United States. They maintain the no antibiotics and no hormone standards, but their logistics are completely optimized for volume.
Right, because a medium box from Good Chop delivers up to 36 portions for $149 a month.
That's a lot of meat for $149.
It is. And Good Ranchers follows a really similar model with 100% American-raised, highly curated meat. When you actually sit down and analyze their family feast or Rancher's Classic boxes, the math comes out to an incredibly reasonable $2.50 to $5 per serving.
The economics of those volume tier subscriptions are really fascinating when you compare them to a traditional grocery store.
Because it seems like a paradox, right?
Totally. I mean, if a household consumes, say, 15 or more pounds of meat a month, these direct-to-consumer models become mathematically competitive with standard supermarket pricing.
Which is crazy. How can they offer ethically sourced, hand-trimmed meat that's free of hormones, ship it in a refrigerated box to your door, and still compete with the price floor of a massive grocery conglomerate?
It comes down to extreme supply chain disintermediation.
Okay, big word. Break that down.
So a traditional supermarket steak has to pass through the farm, then a massive industrial processor, then a national distributor, then a regional warehouse, and finally the local grocery store.
And everyone wants a cut.
Exactly. Each node takes a profit margin and adds transit time. But companies like Good Chop and Good Ranchers condense that entire supply chain.
Could just cut them out.
Right. They negotiate directly with regional farming cooperatives, process the meat, and ship it straight to the consumer. They strip out 3 or 4 logistical middlemen, take that reclaimed profit margin, and redirect it into higher agricultural standards and competitive consumer pricing.
They are essentially applying the direct-to-consumer software model to physical agriculture.
Exactly that.
Then you have the heritage brands, right?
Yeah.
The legacy companies that pioneered shipping meat long before this current direct-to-consumer boom even started.
Oh, yeah. The classics.
Omaha Steaks essentially invented the gourmet mail-order gift box. They are legendary for their $99 sampler boxes, and they offer an incredibly wide product matrix.
They do. You can get almost anything.
Right. You can order a filet mignon, but you can also bundle it with wine and desserts in the exact same shipment, with universal logistical reliability across all 50 states.
Omaha Steaks really operates on a gifting and convenience matrix, and Rastelli's is another major player in that heritage tier.
Right, Rastelli's.
They originated as a local, family-owned butcher shop in New Jersey back in 1976 and successfully scaled into a national provider. The industry analyses point out that they are highly effective for curated bundles, particularly surf and turf combinations.
But the sources do note a clear distinction here that you need to be aware of.
Right, the processing difference.
Exactly. While the heritage brands excel at reliable gifting and massive variety, some of their items lean heavier into processing. You might find more marinades or preservatives in a broader Omaha Steaks catalog compared to the hyper-clean, single-ingredient standards strictly enforced by a ButcherBox or a Good Chop.
It's a trade-off matrix for the consumer. You are choosing what variable to optimize. Do you want the convenience of an all-in-one gift box with side dishes? Or do you want strict adherence to a very specific dietary sourcing standard?
And if you are optimizing for pure, unrestrained culinary exploration, the sources really highlight Meat and Bone out of Miami.
Oh, Meat and Bone is wild.
They completely blur the line between a traditional butcher and an exotic purveyor. Like if you are sitting at home and suddenly decide your dinner party requires wild elk or African prawns.
They have the supply chain to make it happen.
They actually do. It's incredible.
But now that the landscape is mapped out, from the hyper-specialists to the volume providers, a consumer really must navigate the friction points of this ecosystem.
Yes, we need to talk strategy.
Because executing a purchase blindly based on a really compelling website can rapidly devolve into a logistical failure and a lot of wasted capital.
Absolutely. So we need to pull together a quick buyer survival guide based on the hidden traps documented in the source material.
The mistakes to avoid.
First up, the most immediate roadblock is geographic. Many of these massive services, including ButcherBox and Good Shop, simply do not ship to Alaska or Hawaii.
Right, their thermodynamic models and shipping networks are strictly calibrated for the contiguous United States.
And the shipping thresholds require active calculation too. Rastelli's, for example, triggers a $25 shipping fee if your total cart value drops below $100.
Which is huge.
Right. If a consumer isn't paying attention and just orders $80 worth of protein, that shipping penalty instantly destroys their cost per pound efficiency.
And then there are the subscription mechanics themselves. They are designed to capitalize on consumer friction.
The subscription trap.
Exactly. These platforms run on recurring revenue models. While many allow a la carte purchases, the default architecture for Good Shop and ButcherBox is a recurring subscription.
So you have to be careful.
You have to actively map out their pause, skip, and cancellation workflows before you ever enter a credit card. Otherwise, you will end up with 20 pounds of beef thawing on your porch while you are out of town for a long weekend.
That sounds like a nightmare. Which actually brings us to the biggest, most common point of failure identified in the consumer data.
The freezer space.
A profound misunderstanding of physical storage capacity.
Yes.
The bulk incentives, like Campo Grande offering a bonus pork shoulder for a $1,000 order, they are mathematically sound, sure, but they require significant infrastructural investment at home.
You cannot just jam 40 pounds of dense frozen meat into the tiny icebox above your refrigerator.
No, the volume requires a dedicated chest freezer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are forced to rapidly thaw and cook a massive quantity of protein before it spoils, which entirely defeats the economic purpose of the bulk order to begin with.
Exactly.
But, the freezer requirement brings up a core assumption that I feel like we really need to challenge here.
Okay, what's that?
With the exception of Porter Road, almost every single one of these companies ships their product frozen.
Right.
Now, I have been conditioned by years of culinary media to believe that fresh is inherently superior to frozen. Always.
Oh, a lot of people think that.
Right. Does the freezing process fundamentally degrade the cellular structure of the meat, or is that an outdated assumption?
It's mostly an outdated assumption, but the distinction lies in the physics of the freezing process itself.
Physics again.
Always physics. The sources spend significant time differentiating between commercial flash freezing and the slow freeze environment of your standard home kitchen appliance.
Okay, so if I buy a fresh steak from a local grocer and I just throw it in my freezer at home, what is physically happening inside that meat?
Well, a home freezer drops the temperature relatively slowly.
Right.
And during a slow freeze, the water molecules inside the muscle tissue have time to seek each other out and form large macro ice crystals.
Okay.
These large crystals act like microscopic daggers. They physically expand and puncture the cellular walls of the meat.
Ouch.
Right. So when you eventually pull that steak out and thaw it, the damaged cells can no longer hold their moisture. The water, along with the myoglobin and all the flavor compounds, just bleeds out into the packaging.
Oh, that red liquid in the bag.
Exactly. The result is the dry, tough, flavorless experience commonly referred to as freezer burn.
That makes total sense. But the commercial facilities operate on a completely different thermal timeline, right?
Exactly. These direct-to-consumer networks utilize commercial flash freezing technologies. They expose the meat to extreme sub-zero temperatures, often plunging it to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit or even lower.
Minus 40. Wow.
almost immediately after it is processed. This rapid drop in temperature forces the water molecules to freeze instantly in place.
So they don't have time to form those daggers.
Precisely. They form microscopic ice crystals that are far too small to pierce the cellular membrane.
So the cell walls remain entirely intact.
Yes.
When you saw a flash frozen steak from, Crowd Cow or Good Ranchers, the moisture and the lipids are trapped exactly where they were the second the animal was processed.
The science is definitive on this. Properly executed flash freezing preserves the flavor profile, the textural integrity, and the nutritional density of the protein flawlessly.
That is so good to know.
It locks the meat at its absolute peak state of freshness, effectively suspending it in time until you move it to your refrigerator to slowly defrost.
So you just map out your meals a day or two in advance, let the thermal transfer happen slowly in the fridge, and it performs perfectly.
Exactly.
We've traced an incredible arc across this industry today. I mean, we started by looking at the inherent flaws and the culinary roulette of the traditional supermarket aisle.
And the solutions are just vast.
They really are. You can track the exact lineage of an A5 Wagyu steak from Japan right to your door with Crowd Cow.
Yep.
You can leverage the advanced thermodynamics of Porter Road to receive fresh, hand-cut, dry-aged beef tailored precisely to your cooking timeline.
Fresh in the mail.
Crazy. Or you can strategically disintermediate the supply chain with Good Chop or Good Ranchers and feed a family high-quality, ethically raised American protein at a cost that directly rivals those massive grocery conglomerates.
The data provides a really complete operational blueprint for you. Whether you are hunting for a highly specific, nutrient-dense pasture-bird chicken, an imported Iberico indulgence, or just a sustainable way to keep the household fed without compromising on agricultural standards.
The tools to execute that strategy are fully available and mathematically viable.
They absolutely are.
But, hidden deep in the logistics reports, there is a fascinating, unexamined concept that points to where this market goes next.
This is the really cool part.
Yeah. The sources briefly detail a software platform called Enatega.
Enatega.
Right. And it isn't a meat company. It is a customizable, off-the-shelf logistics and food delivery software suite specifically engineered for independent operators who want to build their own delivery networks.
It provides enterprise-grade routing, inventory management, and the whole customer interface architecture to anyone with the capital to license it.
Think about the implications of that technology making its way into the hands of a local community.
It changes everything.
What if the future of this $5 billion market doesn't actually belong to these massive national brands like ButcherBox or Omaha Steaks?
Right.
Imagine local neighborhoods or community groups licensing a platform like Enatega to pool their own resources. They could build direct, localized supply chains with the farms operating in their own county.
They could manage the inventory and the delivery logistics themselves.
It's effectively becoming their own decentralized micro-meat delivery hubs.
It represents the ultimate disintermediation. It removes not just the supermarket, but the massive direct-to-consumer aggregators as well.
You create a hyper-local, completely closed-loop food system driven by community software.
Exactly.
You wouldn't just be tracking a shipment across the country. Your actual neighbor might be the one coordinating the logistics of a locally pasture-raised protein network entirely outside the traditional grocery system.
The supermarket roulette wheel wouldn't just be rigged against the house.
No, the entire casino would be obsolete. It completely redefines what it means to source your own food.
It really does.
Definitely something to chew on the next time you find yourself standing under those fluorescent lights, staring at a wall of styrofoam.